In this video, I'm sharing 30 pieces of advice that have changed my life for the better, and hopefully you'll find them helpful as well. I was talking with my mum recently and I realised how much knowledge and wisdom and amazing advice she's shared with me over the years. So in this video, I'm also introducing you to her, and a lot of the pieces of advice in this video have come directly from her, so you can thank her in the comments section. This video is part of my 30 Things series, so if you enjoy it, you can go check out the rest of the playlist after watching. This is my lovely mum. Mum, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I'm Jan, I'm Sarah's mum. I live in the middle of nowhere and I love my dog and knitting and patchwork and gardening. Come on Rosie, come and say hello to everyone. This is Rosie.
Good girl, you're so gorgeous. Thanks Mum. Well, I wanted to put you in this video because you're always giving me the best advice, so thank you for all the years of wisdom and advice. Tell yourself, I have time. Those 3 little words help me so much when I'm feeling overwhelmed. Even if I really feel like I don't have the time to fit in everything that I want or need to do, just saying to myself, I have time, is incredibly helpful in making me feel less stressed. 5 minutes is better than nothing. 5 minutes of journaling, 5 minutes of exercise, 5 minutes of responding to emails, 5 minutes of cleaning and organising. I don't know about you, but I have this tendency to build things up in my head and feel like if I can't go the whole hog and do something perfectly, then it's not worth doing. And that means that quite often I end up not doing that thing for quite a long time and I become inconsistent, and then I lose momentum and it's harder for me to get started when I actually do need to. What I do nowadays is just try to do a little chunk, just give a minimal amount of effort if I really don't have much energy, rather than not doing that thing at all. Be the person who pays the favour forward. This is a lesson that I learned most acutely when I was working as a healthcare assistant. I worked at a hospital that was miles away from where I lived. I had to get a bus, I had to then get a train, and then I had a 40-minute walk to the hospital from the train station. So it was a long slog to get to work, and my shifts were 13 hours long. So it always felt like such a trek. It would take me like 2 hours to get to and from work each way. Anyway, there was this nurse that I sometimes worked with, and she lived not that far away from me, and when she was on shift she would give me a lift home after my shift, and I was so grateful to her every single time that she did this. And I remember saying to her once, like, how can I repay you? This was so nice of you to give me a lift. And she said, don't think about that, pay the favour forward. When somebody else is in this position, or there's a favour that you can do for somebody else, pay it forward. And that has always stuck with me, so I just wanted to share that because I love that piece of advice. Mindful who you take advice from. It's so easy for anybody and everybody to dish out advice, but ask yourself, are they in the position that you actually want to be in? Are they somebody that you respect and admire? Are they somebody who you actually want advice from? You can listen to their advice, but it doesn't mean you have to actually take it on board or do what they say. Just be mindful. This one is valid for whether you're communicating with your partner or your friends, or maybe arguing with strangers on the internet. Pick your battles. You only have so much energy, and fighting the wrong battles will drain you. A piece of advice that I learned from Janie Holiday, the women's mindset coach, is that when you're thinking about your to-do list, prefix it with all I have to do is. It makes it feel so much less stressful and so much more manageable. Absolute game changer. Say hi, Tilly. You want to say hi to everyone? You want to say hi to everyone? Nothing is a wasted experience. Sometimes it's only in hindsight that we can realise the value in something that we've been through, like going through a breakup or going through a job loss or something really difficult, or feeling like you're stuck or you're in a stagnant period of your life. It can feel really frustrating, and you can feel like, I just can't wait to get through this, or this is setting me back in life. But in reality, when you look back on any of these kinds of experiences you've had, you realise how much growth happened during that time. Think back to a time when you were going through something really difficult, and now realise how many lessons you've learnt from that. Nothing is a wasted experience, even if you can't see it when you're in the moment. Wear your SPF. It is as simple as that. Remember that no one, and I mean no one, is thinking about you as much as you're thinking about yourself. And I find this such a comforting thought, because we go about our teens and our 20s assuming that everyone is judging us and everyone is thinking about us, and maybe they are, but honestly no one is thinking about you as much as you think about yourself. I want you to think about your best friend or one of your favourite people in the world. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's your partner, maybe it's one of your friends. How often have you thought about them today? Okay, maybe you've thought about them once, maybe you've thought about them twice, maybe you've thought about them a few times. I'm willing to bet that you haven't spent more than 5 or 10 minutes thinking about them today, and this is the person in the world that you love the most, nobody is thinking about you that much. So this is a piece of advice that Vince has given me. You say this all the time. You can't give offence, you can only take offence, don't you? You say that.
I do.
And I think that's very useful information. You are genuinely someone that never gets offended by things.
Yeah, give it back. I make them cry. You're not going to make me cry.
And as someone who used to be very sensitive, this is just quite refreshing. Life is too short to waste time on bad books. There are so many people out there who have written masterpieces. They've downloaded the information from their brain onto paper for you to read. And if you're reading a bad book, you have my full permission to stop halfway and forget about finishing it. Life's too short, your time's precious, and go and read a better book. Speaking confidently and being sure of yourself, we often add in words like kind of, I think, maybe, and we use ums and ahs, when actually we really do know what we're talking about. We use those words to soften what we're trying to say. And it makes you seem like you're not sure of yourself. It makes you seem not as confident. I learned this from the audiobook, The Ultimate Jim Rohn Collection. I've talked about this loads on this channel. I absolutely love that audiobook. So if you haven't listened to it, it's a very long one, but I would highly recommend it. There is just so much good life advice in there. Trust that the right information will reach you when it's supposed to, at the right time. We live in a world full of information, books, podcasts, courses, YouTube videos, all full of wonderful information and stories. While this is absolutely amazing, we can fall into a trap of thinking that if we just find the right book or we just find the perfect course, then our problems will be solved. While it is helpful to have these resources available to us, I want you to remember that you take a different piece of information each time you consume something. You take the thing that is relevant to you at that time. I don't know if you've ever read a book twice or listened to a podcast episode twice or watched a YouTube video twice, and you found that you take something slightly different from it, and that's because at that time you needed to hear a particular thing from it. So trust that the right information will come to you at the right time. You do not need to find the next big thing. It's all there waiting for you, and you'll take what you need at the right time. Stop complaining so much. I actually made a video about that, which I'll link up here, where I did 30 days of no complaining, and I learned a lot in that 30 days, and I felt really positive afterwards. Now, complaining can be helpful in some instances. You know, you notice a problem, you complain about it, you make a change. But what I realized doing this challenge was that most of the time, I'd say 99% of the time, complaining was robbing me of my power. I was choosing to complain as an easy way out because it felt like some sort of cathartic release to be able to vent about the problem. But actually, I'm not doing anything about it. I'm choosing to complain rather than take some action. And not only that, but it's kind of a boring topic of conversation for the other person. It brings the energy down, and it's just not really a nice way to have a conversation. There are so many more interesting things to talk about than complaining about things. It's okay to be the bad guy in somebody else's story. This piece of advice came from my mum at a much needed time when I was going through a breakup, maybe in my late teens, early 20s. And I remember breaking up with this guy, and I thought that we'd probably end up staying friends and everything would be amicable and it would all be okay. Well, things didn't work out like that. He started spreading all these rumors about me, and it was really nasty, and it was all untrue, and it really upset me. And I remember ringing up my mum and saying to her, how can I stop him from doing this? And also, how can I make him like me again? I thought we were going to be friends after breaking up, which was very naive of me. And my mum just said to me, Sarah, it's okay to be the bad guy in somebody else's story. Focus on yourself. Stop worrying about what he thinks of you, about what he's doing. And if he's spreading all these rumors about you, the people that care about you will understand that it's not true, or even if they think it is true, they won't care. That was such an important piece of advice for me. And I wanted to pass that on to you, and especially for those of you who are people pleasers, because we are so desperate to be liked. We're programmed to want to make everybody like us and to make sure that everybody thinks that we're a wonderful person. And it kills a little bit of our soul if we think that people are annoyed at us or don't like us. But actually, if you want to grow as a human being and you want to improve yourself, you've got to let that go. You've got to allow yourself to be the bad guy in somebody else's story. You've got to not worry if people hate you or if people don't like you. It's not your problem. Your problem is whether you like them. Your problem is making up your mind about what you want to do, what you want to focus on. Stop trying to control everybody else's opinion of you. Just carry on living your life, because none of it matters. Remember that people will ultimately do whatever they want to do. I remember having this conversation with my mum where there was a situation with one of my friends, and this friend was making a decision that I felt was unwise, and I was a bit worried about it. And I spoke to my mum, and my mum said to me that phrase, people will ultimately do whatever they want to do. My friend probably knew that the situation was unwise, but she chose that. And it was really freeing hearing those words from my mum. It's a bit like that let them thing from Mel Robbins. You know, people are annoyed at you, let them be. People are doing things you don't want them to, let them. It's so freeing to remember that it's not your responsibility, first of all, you know, you can't control what other people are doing, and nor should you try to. But also realizing that ultimately some part of them wants that, and they have the decision-making capabilities and the knowledge that they need to make their own decisions about their life. So let them. People will ultimately do whatever they want to do. Some advice from my incredible mother-in-law, who's an absolute domestic goddess, Angela, is that if you've got a clean kitchen and a clean bathroom, then you're always ready for guests. And she said that she was told that by her own mum. And something that I found that makes cleaning the bathroom so much easier is having a bathroom spray just in the cupboard in the bathroom, using that with a bit of toilet tissue just to give it a quick once over. Now, this isn't like your normal weekly deep clean of the bathroom, but it's enough just to make the bathroom smell a bit fresher, to make the taps shiny and make it smell and look fresh. More words of wisdom from my mum. Just because you can do something, and even if you can do that thing well, it doesn't mean you have to, and it doesn't mean you should. And I love this because it's so freeing. I feel like we live in a world that is so beautiful. We have so many options and opportunities around us, and that is a wonderful thing. But it also means that if you're someone like me who's always got loads of ideas and thoughts about what to do and loves to hear opinions from other people and advice from other people, it can mean that you end up feeling pressured and like you have too many things on your plate and too much to do. So, for example, I had a message from somebody the other day saying that I would make a good psychiatrist, and like that's really flattering and that's really lovely, and psychiatry is a career that I had considered and perhaps I'd be really good at it, but it doesn't mean I have to do it, and it doesn't mean I should necessarily do it. Same with becoming a GP or going into my A&E training. I could do it, and I probably could do it pretty well. Doesn't mean I have to. I could also probably be a very good baker or painter. You know, life is full of options and opportunities. And I think this is a really wonderful piece of advice to remind us that we should be led by what feels joyful and fun and right for us. And nobody else can decide that other than you. So even though you can do something and you can potentially do it very well, choose the things that bring you the most joy, and your life will feel the most fulfilling, your life will have the most meaning, and it will be the best possible life for you. Another very important lesson from my mum: make your own cake. All right, so when I was in medical school, I went on this placement which was really far away. It was like 2.5 hours away from where I was living, and I didn't know anyone there, and in my first week it happened to be my birthday. And I remember complaining to my mum and being like, oh, it's my birthday, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to see anyone, I'm not going to have any celebrations, I probably won't have a birthday cake. And I was expecting my mum to give me some sympathy because she is such a sweet person and she normally does. But she gave me some real tough love, and it was exactly what I needed at the time. And she said, Sarah, make your own cake. Bake yourself a cake, invite your colleagues round, invite the rest of the people from your group over, tell them it's your birthday. No one can read your mind. Don't expect them to, and don't expect other people to go out of their way to make you a cake or buy you a cake and celebrate with you. It's up to you. And this is just such a good metaphor for so many things in life: taking self-responsibility and using direct communication, being the person to invite others to have fun. So this is a key life lesson. Make your own damn cake. Learning to ask yourself what the ideal future version of you would do is so helpful when you're having like a low energy, low motivation day. So For example, this morning I woke up and I was like, oh, I feel a bit low. Definitely don't have a lot of motivation. And I was so tempted to start my day with scrolling and eating a rubbish breakfast and skipping my workout. And then I asked myself the question, which is what I often do, what would the ideal future version of me do? And when you have this clear image in your head of this ideal future version of you, you can think about the actions that they would take, the habits that they would have, and it all becomes clear. Like, obviously, the ideal future version of me would get myself up and do the workout, even if it's not perfect. She would eat a good breakfast. She wouldn't start her day with scrolling. So this morning, I did a bit of reading. When I first woke up, I took myself to the gym. I did my workout. It wasn't the best workout in the world, but did I feel better after it? Yes, of course I did. So getting into the habit of asking myself this has made such a difference for me, and I hope it does for you too. One of the most important takeaways from the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, although it's a little bit of a problematic book and it hasn't dated all that well in some areas, but when I read it many, many years ago, the most important thing that I took away from it is that we're a social species. We shouldn't place all of our expectations and hopes on one person. Yes, our partners are there and they're amazing and they enhance our lives and we enhance theirs, but it's up to us to figure out what we need and to rely on a network of people to fulfill those roles, to have friends and lean on them for certain things and lean on your partner for other things, not to place all of your expectations on one person, because that person can't necessarily fulfill everything that you need. And that is totally okay and totally normal. Be the kind of person who asks everyone how their day is going. Now, this is one that I learned from my stepdad, John, and it's almost exactly a year ago since he passed away. So I've been thinking about him a lot recently. And he was the kind of person who made everyone feel important. He would ask everyone how their day was going. He would use people's names. He was so kind and friendly. And I just think that we need more of that in the world. We need more people lifting each other up and just making people feel like a human, asking how their day's going, asking how their shift's going, thanking people. It's just common courtesy. And I try to do this as much as I possibly can when I'm out and about, but also, obviously at work as well, talking to patients, just being a friendly, kind human being. Invest in good quality skincare. Now, I used to spend a fortune on skincare and get very average results. I have very oily, spot-prone skin, and since I've switched over to prescription strength skincare, my skin has never looked better, and I am so thrilled with the results. So I'll leave what I use down below as an affiliate link if you want to try it. There's a discount code. For me, investing in good quality skincare is a really good use of my money and also my time, because I'm not doing trial and error with all these different products. Thought I'd show you some before and after so you can see for yourself. So on the left side, my skin is not that bad, but on the right side, there is a marked improvement after 3 months. I'll leave the discount link in the description box below. Would it really be one of these 30 things videos if I wasn't out in the woods wearing this gigantic rain jacket? It's not even mine, it's Vince's, but it's just so cozy and so comfy. The next piece of advice is from one of my favorite life coaches on this planet. In fact, one of my favorite people on this planet, Susan Hyatt. And she says that we should embrace our quirks because they are our superpowers. And I love this so much. And it's taken me such a long time to get to the point where I'm happy embracing my quirks, embracing my weird side, embracing the things about me that are different or strange or unusual. Because when we hide those parts of us, when we try to be someone we're not, or we try to cover those parts of us up, we're connecting with people in a false way. We're not really showing them our true selves. When you embrace the stranger parts of you, the parts of you that perhaps you got bullied for when you were younger, or things that you felt ashamed about, when you embrace those parts of you, you connect with people on a deeper level. You find your people and life just gets exponentially better and better. And I think that's one of the things that's been so great about having a YouTube channel, is that it has made me more confident, because it's forced me to find those parts of me and to, when you're making YouTube videos, you're deciding, what am I going to show? Do I present this like polished, perfect image? And I made a decision very early on with this channel that that's not what I wanted. I wanted to show the fact I've got piles and piles of laundry around that I haven't had time to do. I want to show the fact that I haven't got my life completely together, and that things get messy, things get disorganized. When we're trying to hide behind perfection all the time, it's so much pressure, and it's just this false reality. So yeah, embrace your quirks, because they are your superpowers.
Something I've learned through experience is to add buffer time either side of a holiday or vacation. So what I used to do is try and jam pack my time away. So if I had 7 days off work, I would be away for those entire 7 days. But what I found is that the start of the holiday would actually be quite stressful, getting packed and ready to go away. And then at the end of the holiday, all I'd be thinking about is the fact that I'm coming home and going straight back to work. So I find that if I give myself an extra couple of days either side of the holiday, I actually enjoy myself more, and I get more rest and recharging from the time away.
The time will pass anyway. You may as well spend it doing what you actually want to do. This was a piece of advice that was given to me by one of my colleagues before I started medical school. I was working as a healthcare assistant. I'd finished my undergraduate degree in biomedical sciences, and I was trying to decide what to do with my future. Deep down, I knew I wanted to be a doctor, but I was giving myself all these excuses and reasons why I shouldn't do it. Like, I didn't have enough money to go to medical school, and the training was too long, and maybe I should just go and work in a grad scheme and do something quicker and easier. But really, I knew I wanted to be a doctor. And one of the things that I said to him was, I'm going to be 27 by the time I graduate. That feels like it's way too old to be starting my career. And he said to me, the time's going to pass anyway. You're going to be 27 no matter what. You may as well be 27 and a doctor than 27 and doing something you don't really want to do. And that was a real pivotal moment for me. It helped me in making my decision to apply to medical school and to just throw myself into life and go after what I really wanted. I love this one as a reminder to be kind to yourself and gentle with yourself, and not to regret your past decisions. So it's a Maya Angelou quote that I just keep coming back to again and again, which is, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. This is one from Oprah Winfrey. I listen to her podcasts and she shares so much wisdom on there. So 100% recommend listening to that if you don't already. One of the things that Oprah says is, when somebody shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. Sometimes it's only in hindsight that we can start to notice patterns in people's behaviours, and we might allow it the first time and think, that wasn't really them, or make excuses for them and justify why they've behaved in a certain way. But over time, if that habit becomes a pattern, then really it's on us to decide what boundaries we need to set between them and us.
When it comes to food, think about how you can add rather than subtract. How can you add more flavour? How can you add more nutrients? How can you add more enjoyment to your day through food? I feel like we've been sold this myth through diet culture that we should be viewing food as either good or bad, and that we should be restricting and counting calories. And this is just such a harmful way to be thinking. When we start to view food as this beautiful, delicious thing that adds to our lives, then we become free of that harmful message that diet culture is trying to push on us.
Do it scared. This is some more advice from my amazing mum. This was when I was starting work as a doctor. I remember feeling really anxious, a lot of dread about going into work, worrying that I wasn't good enough, worrying that I didn't live up to the standards that were set for me and that I was setting for myself. And I remember speaking to my mum about it a lot. And she's somebody who has struggled with anxiety as well, so she really understands it on a deep level. And she told me that when she started work as a teacher, for her first year, she felt really anxious about going into work, and sometimes she would get so stressed about it that she would even be sick. And hearing her say that she felt like that, but she still showed up to work, gave me the courage to just feel that anxiety and still turn up to work, put a smile on my face, bring my best self and go in.
If you've enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below which piece of advice has changed your life. I would love to hear it, and I'm sure everyone reading the comments would also love to hear it. So let's make a thread of really amazing advice. Big shout out to my mom for this video. Thank you, Mom. Love you. This video is part of my 30 things video, so I'll leave that linked on the screen for you here. Thanks for watching. Bye.